All right, I just got off a phone call with a client. He's growing his business and he's feeling some anxiety. He's unsure about what's going to happen. He's got some doubts about himself, and he's got this uncertainty that's fueled by a sense of powerlessness. So here's what we discussed on the call. The first thing was this idea of dynamic tension. David Emerald was on the podcast. He wrote a great book called The Power of TED, and he's got this image of two thumbs. Two thumbs. On one thumb, this represents where you are, and then on the other thumb, where you want to be. Now imagine that there's a rubber band between these two thumbs, and the further apart that your thumbs are, then the more tension that's going to be there. The thing we've got to remember is that tension isn't wrong, but if we've trained ourselves to always seek comfort, then in our minds, we're going to think that tension is wrong. When we feel this tension in our body, we're going to be saying, hey, something's up here. I need to make sure that I get rid of this. So think of tension. Tension can also be this creative force that's just moving through us. And our job is to be able to expand our capacity to be with that creative force. So I'll give you an example. When I was a younger man, I would see a beautiful woman. I'd be fine, right? And I'd see a beautiful woman walk in the room. Oh man, I'd feel this rush of energy into my body, and I would want to seek a way to relieve that tension quickly. And as a younger man, that was through ejaculation. Now I wouldn't do that right there in front of that, but that was very common. I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of guys deal with this, and we grew up with this sense of feeling tension, and I need to get rid of tension.
Oh, wait just a minute. Doesn't anybody knock anymore?
And so it still shows up. It happens in work. It happens in relationships. It happens in our life. And so we've got a sense, when tension shows up, we're wanting to escape it. The opportunity is to recognize that tension isn't bad or wrong. We can learn how to circulate that energy. And it's important. This is why we got to take breaks. This is why self-care is so important. Go play, go have fun, and then come back and do what needs to be done. The second thing I talked about with my client today was anxiety. Chip Conley, great guy, was on the podcast. He wrote a killer book called Emotional Equations, and he described anxiety as uncertainty times powerlessness. So anxiety equals uncertainty times powerlessness. And what that means is that when we combine what we don't know with a sense that there's nothing we can do about it, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire.
Now that's a fire. That's a fire. Look at that. Look at that. He be all right. Roll Charlie around. Roll him around a little bit.
And so with my client, I gave him an exercise. I said, look, let's focus on this situation that's causing you anxiety. And now I want you to write down what you know. And then I want you to write another column of what you don't know. Flip it over. I want you to focus on what is within your power. And then I want you to describe what is outside of your power, what's just outside of your control. Now, the kicker here is if you do this exercise, you're going to realize that some things are within your power. Some things are within your ability to take action. And you're going to also recognize that it's going to be bold action. It's going to be something that's outside of your comfort zone. You're not going to relieve this anxiety and this tension by avoiding or staying in your comfort zone or distracting yourself with bullshit that's happening on Facebook that day. So if you're serious about really overcoming the anxiety and moving into a place of relief, then you got to understand that taking bold action, going into that uncertainty, by taking some risk, and that's what's going to lead to relief. That's what's going to bring about the peace of mind that you're looking for. And then the third thing that I talked about with him was shifting the mindset. So he was in a place of, how do I avoid the bad stuff? I could see all these bad things that might happen. How do I avoid that? That's where his focus was on. I had him shift into a mindset of, I am willing to do whatever it takes. I wanted to shift him into where the response was, I'm doing this no matter what. And what I've found is that things get much easier. When we have a foot out the door, then we're always second guessing ourselves. Well, should I do this? Should I not do that? Should I wait until something better comes along? Blah, blah, blah. There's always this sense of doubt. There's always this sense of questioning ourselves. When that doubt shows up, we don't have to believe it. We don't even have to believe our fears, but we can take our seat in a much more powerful place, which is, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. This is happening. I'm going to make this happen, and I'm going to do this no matter what. going all in has an amazing effect on our output and our overall sense of well-being. So I hope you enjoy these ideas. Try them out, consider them, and then check out the interviews that I did with David Emerald and Chip Conley. I'll put those in the description. And here's to you. Here's to you doing what you feel like you were put on this earth to do.